Hi everyone, LazyFire here, and welcome back to Battlefield 4 multiplayer. Today we're playing on Lankang Dam, and I'm going to be using a tank for much of the round. If you want my thoughts on tanks and their different upgrade paths and such, check out the thread post that's tied to this video. It explains everything in a bit more detail than I could even in this 20-minute video. Let's talk a bit though about my tank setup. What you see here is I have a sabot shell as my primary weapon, coaxial HMG as my secondary or heavy machine gun, and I have active protection as my countermeasure. I also have zoom optics, so when I click in the right mouse button, I will zoom in. And as a upgrade, I guess you could say it's called an upgrade. It's more or less a vehicle perk. I have autoloader, which means that my tank shells will load faster, but I don't think it actually makes a huge difference. I think it's more of a placebo effect. Let's talk a bit about the sabot shell first, though. It's the final shell you unlock as the tank shells go, and it's absolutely fantastic. It flies further, faster, and has less overall drop than the other shells that are available. But the issue is that it has no splash damage, which means that if you're fighting infantry, you're going to have a hard time killing them with the sabot shell unless you can nail them straight on with it. That's why I have my secondary weapon, the HMG or heavy machine gun. The heavy machine gun does really good damage against soft targets like infantry or against helicopters. It can actually down helicopters if you get a few shots into them. However, it does have this issue where it fires a little slowly, but for the most part you can overcome that by just hitting people, being good with it, you know. Zoom optics are on display right here. You can see I can find that tank from a distance and got him 22 points on that hit. Remember that was actually a front hit on that tank. Right there, he's hitting me too. He got 25 points off of that. And then he just nailed me for another 20. Just, wow. No, sorry, 30, almost 30 points. I've popped active protection here. Active protection will stop warheads of several different stripes from hitting you for quite a while. There are exceptions. The staff shell the tank can have as a secondary, the LAW rocket launcher that engineers have, sabot rounds, which I have, and part of the reason why I'm using them actually is because it goes through active protection. And oddly enough, I've heard that the SRAW, the guide-by-wire rocket launcher, actually also goes right through active protection. If true, that's fantastic. I love the SRAW. In this video, I did not have it unlocked, so had to wait for the next time I got to play this map to use it. Anyways, I'm going to sneak up on this LAV here. Bam, down he goes. That's 35-point vehicle hit, and then I get more points for the mobility hit. If you get a mobility hit or a mobility kill on a vehicle, that means that you've done enough damage in one shot to immobilize it. It doesn't stay immobilized forever. It takes a few moments for it to get back up. So it will move again unless you destroy it. But until it gets back up, it's a sitting duck. Right there, the Levolution event was triggered, which means I don't really have a path forward with this tank the way I wanted to go, which was where the LAV was coming from. So I'm going to switch tactics. Something to note about tanks in this game is that they have locational damage. When I mentioned to watch the damage I did to that tank a moment ago, if you noticed it, the first shot I had did 22 points. The next shot did 30. I hit him in the front on the first one because he was moving up and it just absorbed the round in the front of the tank. On the side, he has less armor, so there's more damage done. On the back, they have almost no armor, and you can do 50 points of damage with the sabot round in the back of a tank. It's absolutely devastating. Now, this also applies to when engineers are at your back in a tank. If you're getting shot in the back by an engineer with an RPG, he'll do 50 points of damage. Absolutely devastating stuff. Right here, watch this. 32 points of damage. Really a good hit. This is why I love having the sabot rounds and the zoom optics. I can be a little bit less cautionary about when I fire because most of the time I'll just nail them straight on anyways. Right there I hit the road though, that was dumb. But having a faster firing weapon and knowing that it's not going to drop as much means that I don't have to calculate as much, let's say, in terms of how much of a lead I have to give something or how high I have to aim. And that's a huge help. Right here though, I walk right into a mine. Engineers have two types of mines. They have what are known as slam mines, M2 slams, or they have AT mines, which will take a tank out or immobilize a tank with one, kill it with two most of the time. I think you can actually absorb two, but you're going to be in a bad way if you do. Right here I've picked up a gunner. This gunner is going to stick with me for quite a while. He's fantastic at this. He basically will be destroying people who get too close to me. He'll be giving me free points by doing so, because I get driver assist bonuses every time he kills somebody. And he's going to be absorbing some points from me as well as I kill more people. So he gets to be part of this. I get some points from him being with me. It's really a great relationship. If you're new to Battlefield 4 and you're trying to unlock some tank stuff, jump into the gunner seat of an experienced tank user, and you will just unlock stuff so fast, because you'll be getting kills from infantry, but he'll also be giving you points just by being there. It's really how I unlocked a lot of stuff for this. When you're playing this game and you have IR smoke, the first countermeasure, there's not a lot of utility for it in this game because you don't get as many locks as you did previously. The dumbfire weapons like the RPG are way more potent than the javelins were in the previous game. People don't use the laser designators like they did in the previous game. It's just much more sensible to have active protection on. That said, active protection does have the downsides. Like I mentioned, Sabo shells go right through it, so if someone happens to be using Sabo against you, you're probably in for a knockdown, drag-out fight. Both of you are probably not surviving that fight if you're in a fight with another tank. Active protection also has an issue where the LAW, which is the starter rocket launcher for the engineers, does not get intercepted by it. And I mentioned this earlier, but it's worth pointing out that I'm going to get hit by one in a moment. The LAW is a very, very easy weapon to use. All you do is you point at the enemy that you want to die and pull the trigger. And what happens is the rocket that they fire just travels at you, goes up in the air, and then slams down into you, as long as it goes within a certain proximity of your vehicle. So what makes this a problem is not the damage it does. It only does 21 points of damage at a time. The issue is that it reloads super fast, and on top of that, many people will tend to group up with that thing, and so you might just be completely destroyed by it in a few seconds. Very dangerous stuff in a tank, so you have to be cautious. I do display a good amount of caution in this game. I'm pretty impressed with myself, but then I get a little overzealous towards the end. Really quickly, you'll also notice if you look at the bottom right where my health is, that I have an ammo counter. I can carry up to 5 shells at a time in this tank. Once I fire a shell, the white bar underneath the 4 there will actually start increasing, and once it's full, that shell that I fired will be replaced. It's very possible to go ahead and fire too many shells at a time and have nothing in your, well, let's say magazine, I guess is the way I describe it. That's a dangerous position to be in this game, so that's why you have to be pretty smart about using your tank. And right here I can see there's a bunch of people on C. I don't really care about that though. The C point is an absolute pointless thing to hold in this. There's no real benefit to it unless you have a commander, and he can call in an AC-130, which is actually a waste of time as well. So it's better to just hold the other points and let the enemy hold on to C. They'll fight tooth and nail for the damn thing. So don't even worry about those guys on there. They're basically ineffective snipers. Sorry, ineffective snipers, if I've offended you. Ooh, right here I'm getting hit by a plane. Planes are sort of the mortal enemy of tanks in this game. They're the one thing that's really going to be able to destroy me easily, and I can't really do much about them at this time, unless they do something really dumb, like take a bad dive at me. The big thing about attack jets is that when they do hit you, they have to get a lot of bullets in you, or they can drop a bomb at you. They do have to hold the lock on the bomb for it to hit you successfully, and the active protection will protect me against it, so not a huge problem, but it's something to note. And right there you can see the absolute terrifying ability of the heavy machine gun to just destroy people. It's really great. Now, there is actually a guy in the hill near B. I didn't realize that, but that's where people are spawning on him and running down to take him. You can see we're having a good time here. I'm about to get hit with something. I don't know what the hell it is. Still can't figure out what that was. And then I get hit with something else. I don't know what that was either. I think it might have been a mine, but I can't be sure. I didn't see any on the ground. Now, getting out of this tank and repairing it does not clear that immobilization. That thing's going to stick there for as long as it's supposed to. but getting out and repairing also gives me extra points, and it means I have a full health tank. It's very important to keep your tank as healthy as possible, as much as possible, because if it's going to go into a fight, you want to make sure that if there's two tanks, he can at least get away without taking too much damage. A lot of the time people don't bother healing tanks, which drives me absolutely fucking crazy, but when I play engineer, I make sure I have a repair tool and help out tanks. Say goodbye to this helicopter. Oh, man, do I love doing that. Hitting a helicopter out of the sky is a little easier in this game than it was the previous game because of sabot shells, but it's still not as simple as you'd think. So every time I get one of those, I'm super excited about it. And right here, this is a good example of why the sabot shells are awesome. You can see how far away this guy is. If I just calculate it all in my head, I can basically hit him every single time from a pretty good distance. And of course the zoom optics has helped everything a lot. And right there, that idiot fired on his own Jeep several times. I don't know why. But right there, I just killed a tank before he had really any time to destroy me. And I still have some shells left. So let's take out this LAV. I think what happened there, I think he was fine. I think what happened was I nailed that guy after he ran over some mines. And here's me being an idiot with the tank, but I always believed that the real point of having a tank was that you're supposed to be the frontline guy for anything. So I'm going to get right up in here and, oh lord, I've already lost 25 points inside this place. That was residual damage from the guy next to me getting hit with a javelin. There's a lot of guys in this collapsed structure here. This point, once you've had it knocked down, is a terrible place. And right there, I just got hit kind of in the back by another tank. I didn't realize he was out there. Not a good spot to be in. But there's still guys in this area. RPG guy right there who just barely missed. Helicopters and planes shooting at me. This is not a good place. I get out of here pretty quickly. I barely survive still. Dangerous, dangerous stuff. But it means they're down one LAV and they're down one tank, which means we should have no trouble holding on to E for a few moments. Unfortunately, these guys come back pretty quickly, so it means I'm going to have to make another run at it. Now you can see we're losing B again. If you look at the mini-map there, it's blinking. So what's actually happening is they seem to have guys on the roofs and everything over there, and it's driving me absolutely nuts. I really like to get those guys out of there. When people hide in those points like that, it drives me crazy. But if you looked at the top of the screen while I was repairing the tank, you would have noticed that the guy gunning for me had a symbol over his head. That would have been nice to knock him right out before he even got anywhere. He has a symbol over his head because he has been marked as the high-value target by the enemy commander. That's not good for me. It means that there's always going to be a marker over my tank no matter where I am. But I'm not going to get any benefit from killing things. He is, though. He's going to get a benefit from killing people who come after him, as long as he's a high-value target. It also means that an enemy would get a few extra points for killing him, which means that I'm going to be targeted by fucking everybody. It also means that, because I didn't realize this at the time, sneaking up ahead is going to be difficult. Oops. And right there I popped active protection against a mobile anti-air who can do almost no damage to me. So why'd I do it? I'm an idiot. Then I figure I'm going to take out the LAV and the tank that's over here. And this is where that whole high-value target thing is a problem. The guy who's also on the point just starts knocking me. I should have zoomed in to see exactly where he was, because I couldn't identify who was firing on me. Now, I've popped my active protection again. It's ready to go right there. Good news. I get out of there and I start repairing. Unfortunately, I'm in a good spot to get hit by a tow missile. This is when I realized that motherfucker in the tank with me is actually the high-value target. And he's screwed, so I let him know. That's not a good spot to repair. If I had been able to get further away reliably, I would have. But I didn't know exactly what they had in store for me. So, with that in mind, I figure I'll let them have E, and I'm going to jump into B with my teammate here. I had seen right before I spawned in that there was a marker up in the hills, so I know there's a sniper out there somewhere. Now, now that I'm an engineer just on the ground, it means my responsibility is more or less to keep other vehicles alive and to destroy tanks. There appears to be a guy on this roof is why I'm throwing those grenades. Can't see the other guy out there though. And then I got scared by my own squad mate. Not good. I run an MTAR on my engineer class. It's a lot of fun. It's a very effective gun. It's not as great as the AK-5C, but I got tired of using that gun all the time. And now I know that there's guys all over the roofs here. It drives me crazy when I see it. That guy doesn't need help capturing that point, so I run away. Here's the RPG. Here's me missing a shot on a helicopter with an RPG, and then him crashing anyways. Sometimes you don't need to hit these guys to scare them to death. If I was smart, I would have actually gone and repaired that and jumped in it and flown off. Well, I had an RPG out, and whenever you have a hammer, you know, everything looks like a nail. Right now, my big concern is making sure that they don't push themselves out of E too far. I had already done my part here. I could have just, you know, gone and fucked off the rest of the round if I really wanted to, because I'm at like 12 kills with that tank, so not bad at all. No, maybe 9 or 10 kills with the tank. So that's pretty good. I had also done a fairly good job of keeping my gunner in people. Yeah, 12 kills at this point. I'd done a good job of keeping my gunner in a good spot, so he was able to get a bunch of kills too. So that guy probably owes me money or something, I don't know. Up here, I run into 2 more people. You can see I've tagged them here. And just trying to tap fire my way to victory. Good job. And then, yep. Ouch. Not my favorite thing in the world to have some guy just hanging out in a windowless room or a room with windows and firing down on me. But you can see he's not taking D because most of my team is rallying there. My team's also taken C back, and you know, these guys are pretty screwed. They have a full team right now, but they're not really able to go anywhere. It's a very frustrating thing that happens in this game if you're up against some really competent players. And then I try to take this tow missile to this helicopter. The secret to tow missiles and the SRAs is to actually keep the rocket engine pointed at the tank, or the thing you want to hit. In this case it was a helicopter. He seemed to have gone down. I don't know if I hit him with that or something, but he went down when that missile disappeared. Sometimes missiles will disappear before they hit targets. It can be really frustrating. I've straight up shot helicopters in the face with a rocket or something and just had them shrug it off like I didn't even fire. But I'm in an LAV now, and you can see this thing is a little faster than the tank, and it just does some pretty decent damage. Oh, also I have alphabet soup shells, which are really good against if you can directly hit an enemy. They're really great, but they're more or less meant for shooting other vehicles at a distance. I love them. They're fantastic things. Once again, these guys are on B. I don't understand where they're hiding exactly, but I know there's at least one guy in the mountains. Here's a dumb move. Drive into B, not knowing how many people are in there. Then I fire a tow missile at a guy I have no right to try to hit. Oh, by the way, tow missiles can lock onto things. Yes, that's a true fact. So if someone has laser designated a tank somewhere, I can fire a tow missile at it. If you're smart with the LAV like this, you can be pretty effective as an anti-personnel vehicle. Unfortunately, I do get caught in a bad situation, run right over a mine, or get hit with an RPG. I think it was actually an RPG in this case. But I'm getting nailed. I pop my active protection, and it dies anyways. Luckily, the guy who was right here got gunned down by these guys behind the wall. Yep, we're almost done here. Just a few more seconds, really. But you can see the tank was really, really effective in this game. If you know what you're doing and you have ineffective enemies, it's very easy to be effective in the tank. That was a big part of it. You saw a few cases where I really should have been dead. The case where the guy with the RPG just fired on me. The case where I got away when I had 13 or sorry, 28 health or something like that. Every one of those cases, I should have been really dead. But I survived somehow. But that's what makes tanks one of my favorite things. Let's check out scores here. I came in on the top of my team, I can tell you that right now, but I want to see where the other guy came in. I think he actually left, which is unfortunate. Anyways, thanks for watching this, and I will see you next time.